Hey everyone, hopefully everyone is doing good. This is me again. So in this short video tutorials, I'm going to discuss some more features on Java and Selenium automation testing. So if you take a look, I have this test case that I'm going to automate by using Java Selenium WebDriver, right? If you take a look in this test case, I have how many steps? In this test case, I have 9 steps, right? So we are going to verify, basically, if you take a look this website, right? If you take a look, we are going to come into this website. We are going to verify these two items from this logo area, and then we are going to click each of these menu item, and then when we'll be making sure that the page is loaded by verifying um, the page header. Okay, so yeah, so what is the URL that we are going to automate is this URL, right? I'm going to actually, this is the URL that we are going to automate. I'm going to copy this URL. All right, so yeah, bear with me. So here in this tutorial, we are going to write methods for each of the verification, right? So the code will be nice and smooth and everything will be in the method. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to start a new tutorial, new Java project. Okay, I'm going to name this Java project as um, QA questions menu item verification. Okay, QA questions menu item verification. So now if I go there, right, let me keep this URL here and then we'll go from there. Now QA questions menu item verification, and then I have my workspace here. I'm going to choose my workspace. I'm going to go to a particular folder where I want to save my work. So let's say I'm going to keep the default workspace. Whatever default workspace is, I'm going to keep it. Okay. You are going to do the same thing, or if you want to save it to a particular location, your preferable location, then you can browse and you can save. If you want to save it to a particular location, let's say you want to save it here, you want to create a folder Eclipse, and then if you want to save your code inside Eclipse, then yeah, you can select that. But for me, I'm going to keep the default location. Okay, I'm going to say finish. So I've created the Java project. Now I'm going to expand it, and can you see this src folder? Inside the src folder, I'm going to create a package. We have explained in the previous video what is package, right? So I'm not going to spend any more time here. So let's say I'm going to say test package. You can give it any name, right? Whatever you like. So test package, and inside the test package, I'm going to create a class. Remember, the class is a part of that package. Okay, I'm going to create a class. Let's say I'm going to name it as test case. Always will be upper lower camel case cls method caller. You can give whatever you like. Okay, so this is my class. Now you know that when you execute a Java program, it starts execution from the main method, right? So we'll have to write a main method, otherwise it will not execute anything at this point. So how will I write the main method? Every time you write the main method as a tester, you will write it in that way: public static void main, right? And then it will take the arguments. What is that arguments? Default argument is string, and then it will take an args, right? And then our main method is starting here, and then we are going to close the main method, and this closing I'm going to take it in the next line, right? So far I'm good, right? So let's say I want to print a message in the beginning, right? So let's say this is the message that I'm going to print in the beginning. System util, actually system dot out dot run, actually system dot out dot println, right? To print something in the output window in Java, we use system out println, right? So what do I want to execute? Print here, right? Let's say I want to print execution is starting. Execution is starting. Okay, execution is starting. 1, 2, 3. Boom, right? So now if we execute it, execution is starting, but we didn't actually write any code here. So can you see it will just print execution is starting. So if you want to execute your test in a browser, right, you know that you will have to set up the system property, right? So the statement for this is system dot, there is a statement called system dot set property, right? Can you see this system dot set property? Now you will say system dot set property. Now what is the property? Now one is what, in the left hand side, can you see key? The key will be what browser you want to run your test. So in my case, I want to run my test in Chrome browser. So to run the test in Chrome browser, you will have to write this. This is syntax. WebDriver Chrome driver. WebDriver Chrome driver. Just remember this. WebDriver Chrome and then driver. This is the key. And what is the value here, right? This is a question. So the value will be again in the double quotation. These are string. So the value will be here in this case the path of your Chrome driver. The path of your Chrome driver. If you haven't downloaded Chrome driver, you will be going to your browser and you will write like download Chrome driver, right? And then it will take you to this page, and then if you click on it, then you will see that Chrome driver 2.43, and this one will you will be downloading. So when it will be downloaded, it will be in your download folder, and from there you will be extracting it. And after extracting it, right, so for example, let's say if I download it again, it is I previously already I have downloaded it, but again it is downloaded. So if you go there, right, show in folder. So I'm just showing this download for your further clarification. So if you go there, show in folder, right, it will take me, actually the download will be always in the, let me see if it is there. So the download will be in your download folder, right? Can you see? That is where it is downloaded, and after the here you will be extracting it, right? What it will do, you will be extracting it. Let's say extract here, right? Now can you see that there is a folder here, Chrome driver Win32, right? Can you see this? That is where it is extracted. I do not need this anymore. So I'm going to remove all of these zip file. I do not need them. It is from the previous download. So now if you take a look, there is a folder that is being created with Chrome driver exe. So that is what, now you are going to copy this path where your Chrome driver is, and then you are going to put this path here. And what is the Chrome driver name? The name of the Chrome driver is driver Chrome driver.exe. Where did I get that name? You saw that the name is here in this folder, right? Can you see Chrome driver.exe? That is what I typed here. Now the next thing here is you have expressed your intention that you want to run your test in Chrome browser, and to run it in Chrome browser you'll have to write this line number 6. The next statement for you, like if you want to run your test in Chrome driver, right, the next thing that you are going to do is you are going to define your define your WebDriver variable. So what is the syntax for that? WebDriver, let's say I'm going to name it as my WebDriver equal to, again, this is a syntax as well. We are creating an object of WebDriver class, and what browser we want to run it? We want to run it in Chrome driver, right? So now here is the question. Can you see it is throwing an error here? And if normally it is asking, okay, this Chrome driver, WebDriver, I do not know. The program is saying, I do not know what is this. You need to tell me. You gotta tell me what is that WebDriver, right? So if you click on it, right, if you have the appropriate libraries, then you will see it will show import, right? Right now with this project, we didn't import any Selenium library. So the definition for this WebDriver is written in the Selenium library, and we do not have the Selenium library here. So what will you do to get the Selenium library? Again, you will be going to the browser and say download, download Selenium library, right? You'll say download Selenium library, and then it will take you to this website. And then if you go there, you will see that, can you see Java Selenium library? You will be downloading this, right? Let's say I have downloaded this. It is around, yeah, it is already downloaded. So if you go to show in folder, right? I'm trying to go to that folder. When it is fully downloaded, it will take me to that folder. Where is it? Come on, guys. Okay, let me go to my, yeah, I know that it is inside my download folder. So if I go to my computer, and then if I go to my download folder, right, you will see that the newest download is this, right? What you will have to do, again, you will have to right click, and then you will have to say extract to Selenium, right? Then it is saying that the following file already exists, right? So I'll say use to all, yeah, extract it here. Now can you see that this is the extracted version? I'm going to remove this zip. Okay, now from here we are going to associate the jar file. Why we are associating jar file? Because we are going to use Selenium syntax, and those Selenium syntax, like we are going to write classes and other stuff. All of these classes are in Selenium library. So how will you associate Selenium libraries? Can you see by default there are some, already there are some jar file here. This jar file are by default, this are Java library. Okay, now you are going to right click on here, and then you are going to select build path, and you are going to set configure build path. And from there, can you see libraries? You are going to say add jars, right? Where are your jars located, right? That is where your jars are located. Now I'm going to, actually, here you are going to say add external jars, right? Where are my jars located? Let's say my jars are located here. Can you see this folder, right? You go to libs, and then you say you hold shift button and press down arrow. Keep holding shift button and keep pressing down arrow until all of the jar files are selected, and click open. And then you'll be clicking on add external jars again. You'll be going back to the parent folder, and can you see this two jar file? You'll be selecting these two, and you'll be saying add and apply and close. Right now you'll see more jar files are added here. These are already Java jar files, and these are Selenium jar files. Now if you click on this, you will see that it will give you option import WebDriver, right? Can you see this? You will be double clicking on this. Now can you see, when you have selected import jar files, right? And then still we are seeing the errors. Right? So can you see, when I have selected, it has imported WebDriver. Now still I'm seeing error, so I'm going to click on here again, and then it is saying that import Chrome driver. So we have imported WebDriver. Now we need to import the Chrome driver, right? So now you are seeing that there are no errors. So now you have created a WebDriver object. Remember, this WebDriver object, by this WebDriver object, you are going to use your browser, you are going to write your automation code. So this is the guy. This is the guy that you are going to use for many things. Okay. So what is the name of this guy? This object is my WebDriver, right? My WebDriver dot. Now, if you use dot, you will see a lot of methods available. If you say my WebDriver dot get, right? My WebDriver dot get. Can you see this? If you click on this my WebDriver dot get, and you can put your URL here. What is the URL that I want to run? I want to run this URL. Correct? I want to run this URL. I'm going to put it here. Okay. So this is the URL that I want to run. Now, if I execute it again, you will see that it will say hello. Execution is starting, and then it will be opening the Chrome browser with this qaquestions.org URL. You will see magic is starting, right? Browser open, and you will see it will be opening the qaquestions.org with it. Okay. Now you saw that our next step is to verify this, but before that I'm going to, can you see this code here, right? This code here, I'm not going to keep it here. Instead, I'm going to put it in a method, so that, let's say, when you will be working in an automation team, there will be many people, 4 or 5 people, right? So you will be writing block of automation code that other people will be using, right? And to make it easy for the other people to use it, you will be writing these blocks in a method. Inside that block, if you have 15, 20 lines or 100 lines, they can call those 100 lines by only one statement. That is how you are making your other colleagues' life easy. Okay. So to do that, right, I'm going to create here another class, right? There will be another class that I'm going to create, new class, and I'm going to name this class as, let's say, CLS func or CLS method lib. Okay, CLS method lib. Now inside that CLS method lib, I'm going to write each of this method. So what is the first method that I want to write? The first method that I want to write is open browser, open application. Let's say open. So method name always starts with lower camel case. Can you see it starts with a lowercase letter, and then the next word has a uppercase letter, right? And then I'm going to say this. Now you'll have to make sure that you have a return type here. So for now, let's assume that I do not have a return type, right? Now what I want to do inside that method, I want to execute this code. I'm going to take this code out of here, right? And then I'm going to put it here. Now it is complaining that it doesn't know, that what is that my WebDriver, right? What is that my WebDriver? So you will have to define this WebDriver, right? You will have to define this WebDriver. Now what we are going to do, we are going to, let's say that if you click on here, right? If you click on here, can you see it cannot resolve my WebDriver? So remember that we have defined a WebDriver here, right? Can you see this WebDriver? We are going to, like, what is that method? This method, the name of the method is open application, right? And it is inside this class. So I'm going to create a class of the object of that class. What is that object? What is that class? This class. And what is the I'm going to give an object name, you know, obj method call. let's say I'm going any name. You can give it any name. I'll make it easy. Obj caller, right? Obj caller equal to, how do you define an object? Like this, right? And what is the name of the class? This, right? Now statement, that means I'm closing the statement. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this object to call the method that I have over there. What is that method that I have written? Is open application, right? Now when I'm calling this method, right, when I'm calling this method that is defined here, I'm going to pass this, I'm going to pass this WebDriver object. Now when you are passing something from here, from the main method, right, you will have to receive it here. So what is the object that we are passing? We will have to define an object here, WebDriver, and then I'll give a name. What is the name? Let's say OD. You can give any name, OD OBJ, right? Now by this object, I'm going to say object, this WebDriver object dot get. Now here you will see, you will get that import, right? Now we are good. So if you take a look, this method we are calling from here, right? Now there is no problem. Now if you run it again, let me run it again. Okay, so website opened, and if you take a look here, that the execution is passed, right? So how, what did I do? I have, let me make it a little bit, let me make it okay. So now let's say when I'm executing it, right, I'm going to, before I opening it, before I have opened application, I'm going to say system dot out dot println, system dot out dot println, right? I'm going to write here, okay, what I'm doing here, opening application, right? Now if you execute it, you'll see that first it will print starting execution, and then it will be printing what? Then it will be printing, like when it will be opening the browser, it will print, okay, opening browser. So if you take a look here, can you see opening application or opening browser? Now let's go back here. Now can you see that if you take a look here, this is what I have. I have this method. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'll have to come here in this website, and then I'll have to verify verify this logo, right? So to verify this logo, you'll have to inspect that object. How do you inspect this? You inspect this in this way, right? Again you click, again right click and inspect. Now can you see this 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 object is it, it has a tag that is a means it is a link. A means what? A means it is a link. Again, a means it is a link. And then can you see, this means link is starting, and can you see that slash a, that means link is done, right? So can you see this less than sign, and can you see this greater than sign here? So this part is the link text. It is not in double quotation or anything, right? So link, if you have a link text for a link, you can always use it to identify that link. So I'll be using link text to identify. Can you see what is the, like, first of all, this is a link. How do I know this is a link? Can you see this a tag, right? This a means this is a link, okay? And then can you see this closing link? that means link is done here up to this. That means from here to here the link is there. Okay, and then can you see this text here that is enclosed by a less than sign and a greater than sign? That is a link text. So you can always identify a link with link text. So how will you do that, right? So I'm going to write here another method. So I know that I have my actually I can write it here. I can write another method, right? So let's say I'm going to copy this method, right? And what I'm going to say here, I'm going to say verify, verify, verify logo, verify logo, right? And again, it will be taking that WebDriver as a parameter. Now I'm going to say uh, verifying logo, logo. And then what I'm going to do here, verifying logo, let me show you how I'm going to verify logo. It is a very good understanding part how I am going to verify logo, right? So let's say that I'm going to use this. I'm going to what is that? I'm going to identify that object by this WebDriver, right? WebDriver dot find WebDriver dot find element by, right? By what? Now you write by dot by what? We want to identify by link text. If you type it here, can you see by link text? Now what is the link text? It will be inside the double quotation. Now let me go back to the application and get that link text again, right? Can you see? So now you put it here. You got it? So I'm identifying that object by link text. Now I'm going to say if this object exists. If that object exists, I'm going to say okay, my test case passed. If this object doesn't exist, I'm going to say this test case failed, right? So I'm going to say this object dot is, there is a method called is displayed, right? That means I'm asking, is this object displayed? If it is displayed, then my test case is passed. Now when you ask someone if this object exists, then he or she will be answering yes or no, or they will say true, yeah, this exists, or they will say false, no, this doesn't exist. So this part of the code, the whole code that you are writing here, it will say either true or false. So whatever it is saying, I'm going to record it, I'm going to store it somewhere. So what is that? I'm going to say um, true, or let's say val, I'm going to say result, result equal to, right? Now what is that result, guys? Please understand this. So what this code is going to return is true or false. So now we have learned so far that there are integer type data where we are putting the full number, and then we have fractional type, like to store fractional data we have double or float, and then we have string to store alphanumeric. Now in Java we have another variable type that is Boolean, right? You'll have to declare it here, Boolean, right? There is another variable type that we are calling Boolean, and let's say now that is where I'm going to store, right? I'll have to first I'll have to define it. So Boolean type variable, what it does, it stores yes or no, actually true or false. Remember, what is Boolean type variable? Boolean type variable is like another type of variable like integer, float, double, or string. But the good thing about Boolean variable is it will store only two values, either true or false. Make sense? Okay. Now, what I'm going to say, I'm going to say, see another interesting part here. I'm going to say if, right? What is my variable? This is my variable, right? If I'm going to, there will be a condition here in this parenthesis, remember. And then if, what is that condition? If this variable equal to true, right? I'm asking, hey, if this variable contains a true or if this variable contains a false, can you check? So when you do like this checking, instead of one equal to, you use double equal. So this is called logical equal. So I'm asking if result equal to true, right? If this method say yes, this object displayed, that is true, then we are going to have a true block. In the true block, we are going to say system dot out dot println. In this block, I'm going to say that, what is that? Let's say I'm going to say logo displayed. You got it? There is a if or else. In logical condition, we say if this is true, do this, if otherwise, do that, right? So otherwise means else. Otherwise, in programming language, we say else. Otherwise, there will be a block. What is that block? Otherwise, we are going to say this. We are going to say that logo didn't appear or logo didn't display, right? And then let me remove this additional line. Now if you execute it, right? Now if you execute it, you will see that you'll got your um, expected output here. So the logo will be displayed, and while logo will be displayed, it will be printing. When the website will be loaded, you will see that it will be printing here, right? Opening application, and then when logo will be displayed, as you can see, the logo is already there. So if we have written a proper description, right? If we have written a proper description, then it will say logo displayed. So it is still waiting here for that verification, right? So give it a little bit time. Actually, if you guys can take a look, I made a mistake here. What is that mistake, right? What is that mistake? Can you see that I have written that method here, but I didn't make a call. So this is the method I need to call in order to perform this code. Otherwise, this code will not be executed if I do not call it from the main method. Remember that I'll have to call it, right? What is that? Obj caller dot. What is that method? Again, we have written verify logo, right? Verify logo. And then what I'll have to pass? I'll have to pass this WebDriver object, right? Now if you execute it, I'm going to do another quick execution. You'll see that hopefully it will be passing now. It will say, okay, logo displayed, right? The website, when the website will be loaded, then we are going to check what happened actually, right? Now if you go there, can you see logo displayed? First of all, we have printed that verify logo, right? And then it we ask it, hey, is logo displayed or not? Then it returned true here, and then we are checking result equal to, if result equal to true, print this. If it is not true, then it will be printing something else, right? Got it? So we have verified the logo. The next thing is you will be verifying this text. Can you see? I'll leave it on you. Now again, to give you a hint, if you inspect on it, right, if you right click and inspect it again, can you see this is a span? This is what? This is a span. And then what is the, if you take a look, it has it has a class, right? It has a class name. It has a class name. So let me do the verification for you. Can you see the class? Can you see, guys, this class site description? It makes sense? Okay. Now, can you see the span started from here? Span ended here. So span text like link text will not work. So there is a way, there is multiple way to identify this object. I'm going to discuss both of this way, like how you can identify this object. Can you see this site description? It is class equal to. So if you see something like this in an object, that means that object is starting from here, it is ended here. If you see class equal to something, there is a possibility that you can identify that object by that class. I'm going to show you how you can do that. So let me copy this, and let's say I'm going to write another method here in this one, right? I'm going to write uh, void void, right? um, verify verify site desk, right? Again, this method, actually, let me remove this. Verify site desk, and then I'll have to put this, and then I'll have to put this parenthesis here, and as usual it will be having a, actually, why not, I'm copying this method, it will be a similar method. Actually, let me undo whatever I did. Okay, now this method is started from here and ended it here, so I'm going to copy this whole method. Basically it will be a similar method, right? So if you come here, now verify, it will be, there is a problem here in the method name, can you see? Okay, I'm going to say verify site description, site description, right? Now, can you see in this name there is, it is upper camel case, it will be lower camel case, and then it will be Y. So I'll have to change it from where I have called it as well, right? I have called it from here, now it will be throwing an error. So let me put it here. And then here I'm verifying the site description here, correct? Now what I'm doing here, verifying site description. Okay, now again I'm going to say if this object displayed, right? Now I know that there is no link text, there is no span text, span, there is no, like, this link text is defined in Selenium. Now there is no such a thing called span text. So what I'm going to use, I'm going to use, remember that it has class, right? I'm going to use class name. So instead of link text, I'm going to say by dot, can you see class name, by dot class name. And what is that class name? Let me remove this unnecessary part that is from the previous one. Now what is that class name? This class name will be again in the double quotation. And what is the name of this class? I'm going to go there and I'm going to double click and I'm going to take it. Now got it? So I'm saying, is this object displayed? If it is displayed, then I'm going to say site description, site description displayed, or site description didn't display, right? Now let me call this method from here, from my main method. So what is that object that I'm using to call? I'm using obj caller dot, what is that method name? Verify site description, right? And what is the browser object that I'm passing? This is the browser object that I'm passing. Okay, now if you execute it again, let me close this browser. Now every time, can you see I have to close the browser manually? So what you can do when your execution will be done, you can say this is your WebDriver object now, right? You can say WebDriver dot close. Actually, obscholar. What is my WebDriver, guys? This is my WebDriver, right? I'm going to say WebDriver dot close. Then it will automatically close the browser for me. Now let me do the execution again. We close this browser and you will see that this browser is already open. I'm going to keep it open, but it will open another browser, and after the verification it will be closing it. Right, it has opened the browser, and then can you see site description displayed? You saw that, right? Okay, okay, very good. Now let's say that we have verified both of this object. Let's say I said that, and it has also closed the browser, right? Now let's say that this site description, right? If you right click on it and inspect it, I have identified that site by class, right? So there is another way you can identify that site description, and that is by Xpath. So I'm going to show you how by Xpath you can identify that object. So if you take a look, the syntax for XPath is this, right? I'm going to copy this syntax. I'll tell you what this means, right? By there are multiple way. If you are going to, there are multiple way. I'm going to show you all of the way you can identify that object. Now, if you come here, right? If you go to your, so you saw that this is a working one. It worked, right? I'm going to come here and I'm going to paste it here. Now, what is my browser? What is my driver? This is my driver. This is my driver, right? Find element by XPath. Now, can you see tag? What is the tag name for this object? This is the tag name, span. After that, less than sign, whatever you see, this is your tag name. You copy this tag and put it here instead of tag. Okay. Now, can you see text equal to this? Now, for that tag, what is the text? Can you see this is a span, and whatever you see, the tag is closing here by /span. It will be matching with this. Can you see this less than sign and this greater than sign? That is what span text is. I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it here. Span text equal to this, right? Now I'm going to say dot is displayed, right? Now again I'll have to save this value true or false, whatever it is returning. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to comment out this line. So now if I run it, right? Now if I run it, can you see now I have identified that object by XPath, right? XPath, and what I have taken, you can identify any object by its tag name, and if it has a text by this way, right? Now if you execute it, right? Can you see site description displayed? That means up to this we are good. It was able to identify that object, right? Now there is another way you can identify that object by using XPath, right? I'm going to show you that one as well. Let me copy this line, right? And let me comment out this line, and then I'm going to paste it here. Now again I'm going to use XPath, and in the XPath, what is the tag name? Span. Now instead of text, can you see here this class? I'm going to use this class attribute. What is the attribute name? This is the attribute value. And what is the attribute name? This is the attribute name, right? I'm going to use this attribute name. What is the attribute name again, guys? My attribute name is this. Okay, now how will you identify object by attribute name? You do not have to put this or you only put this parenthesis if you are identify the object by using text. So I'm at this point I'm going to identify it by class, right? And then if you are identifying the object by any of the attribute name, right, you will have to provide a at sign in the beginning. Okay, and what is the value of this at class value? This site description. You got it? So can you see how I identified it? I identified it by, first of all, this is a span. And what is the attribute name? Class. What is the attribute value? This is the attribute value, right? This is the whole thing is the attribute value. What is the name of the attribute? This is the name of the attribute, right? Now if you execute it, let me close this. Actually, I have only one buzzer. I do not need to close it. Now if I execute it, you will still see that it will be identify that object, right? Okay, so now can you see site description displayed? That means, you know, our test case is in the right direction. Okay, now the next step is, let's say if you make this, if you close this, the next step is click on this link. And when you click on this link, you will be verifying something. Now how will you click on this link? Right click on this link and inspect it. Now if you again right click on this link and inspect it. Now if you take a look, this link, again this link has link text. Can you see this link has link text? So I'm going to identify that object. If you come here, right, you copy this method. Oh, before I copy this method, guys, can you see that this Boolean result, right? I have used it here in this method. I have used it here. So this is like by everywhere I'm defining it. Instead of defining it in multiple place, after this class, before I write any method, I can define the properties. Like what is that variable? Boolean result. So I'm defining it at a time, then I do not have to define it every time inside any method. Instead of defining, because I am defining it in a central place, right? Whatever properties you are going to define here after this, like if the properties, if the variables are not inside any method, if you define a variable like this variable will be public to all of the methods. I mean all of the methods will be able to use that variable. So I'm going to remove definition, right? Now if I go there, and I'm going to copy this, method, right? Verify site description. Now I'm going to verify what? I'm going to verify QA, QA interview questions link. I'm going to verify that, right? Verifying QA interview questions link. Verify QA interview questions link. Now let me comment out everything, right? First of all, here let's identify that object. Now if you go to your website, does it have a class here? It has a href. Can you see it doesn't have a class? So we cannot use that first attribute class name, right? So let me go there. It doesn't have a class, so I cannot use that. Okay, let me uncomment this. So by Xpath, right? By Xpath, now text, I can use that. Okay, so what is that? What is the tag name? If you go there, the name of the tag is a, right? And what is the text, right? if you take a look, this is the ending of that a less than and this greater than. Whatever is in between is the text. I'm going to copy it and then I'm going to put it here. This is an instead of span, this is a, and what is the a text? These are the text, right? Load runner tutorials. Actually, is it load runner tutorials in the beginning? No, let me go there again. So we are going to we are interested about this QA questions, QA interview questions, right? So that is the text that we are looking for. Now if you come here, instead of load runner tutorials, you put QA interview questions, and then let's say if it is true, then we are going to print okay, this is displayed, otherwise this is not displayed, right? Didn't display. Now if I execute, right, if I execute it now, you'll see that Q interview questions link will be displayed. Right? Actually, I have written the definition, but I didn't call that method, right? So what I'll have to do, I'll have to go there. I'll have to call this method. How will I call it? I'll be using this object of that class, and then I will, can you see, verify QA interview questions link, right? Verify QA interview questions link. So, and then here, what is the object that we are passing? So this is the object, right? Verify Q interview questions link. If you execute it, okay, right? So can you see Q interview questions link displayed? That means we are good. So now if the link is there, I want to click on it. So what will I do? I'll take this description up to this, right? Find element by from here to here, find element by, and then I'm going to, if it is displayed, then I want to click on it, dot click. Right now if I execute it again, you will see that it will be clicking on that QA interview question. Okay, now actually if I close this browser so immediately, then I am not able to see what is the effect it is doing. So let me execute it without closing that browser. Right, you will see that it will be clicking on that QA interview questions, right? You will see that it will be clicking, if I have called it, it will be clicking on Q interview questions, right? Let me see what it does. So is my execution done here? Interview questions display. Now if you have noticed that when I'm running this code, right, it's supposed to come here and it's supposed to click on that Q interview questions link, right? Now it is not clicking. Now I'm going to tell you why it is not clicking, right? Can you see we have one link here, that is QA interview questions. There is another link here, QA interview questions. Both of them has same text. Both of them has same text. Now when I'm clicking on it, basically it is when I'm clicking on it here, Q interview questions, it is clicking on this one, right? You will see when the page is loaded, after the page is loading, you will see that it will be rolling here. So let me do this quick execution. Okay, page loaded, and then you will see that it will be rolling here. It has already loaded, rolled here, right? So can you see it is rolling here? That means it has clicked on this one, right? It is clicked on this one. The problem here, both of this link, right? Both of this link, this one and this one has same text. Both of them are linked. That means A, and they have same text. And when we are clicking on it, it is clicking on this first one, right? You understand this so far? Now, as we have same text for both of this link, we'll have to find a difference between, like we have to find something unique to identify this object, to differentiate between these two objects. How will you differentiate, right? Now let me inspect the first one, that is the logo, right? Let me inspect it. Now I'm going to, let's say, copy this. I'm going to put it in the notepad, let's say this, right? So this is the logo, website logo, right? Can you see? This is the logo. Now let's go to the next one. So if you want to come to the next one, let me just bring it, this one, right? Now if you inspect it, and let's do the copy. Now you go to the notepad. So this is the one for the, now can you see that this is A, this is A, the text, this one has up to QA interview questions, this one has up to QA interview questions, same text, right? So how, like let's say you have two houses with the same, they look like same, and they have the same, door number, then which one will you be selecting? You will be confused, and then you will have to, you will be deciding, like you will be in a indecisive condition. So now you'll have to find out, okay, that house is, both of the house has same door number, but that house is yellow and the other house is, let's say, blue. So you'll be asking someone, okay, which color, like I see both of the house has same door number, so which house you want me to go? So the people will say, okay, go to the blue house. Okay, now can you see here, everything is same, except can you see this href equal to, href equal to, this one has qaquestions.org up to this, this one has http qaquestions.org, and then qa interview questions. Make sense, guys? Okay, I'm going to use that to identify the next object. So here, if you come here, you will see that I'm instead of identifying that object by text, I'm going to comment out this part. I'm going to use an attribute here. Remember that when you are attribute identifying an object by an attribute, what is the name of the tag? A. And when you are identifying an object by attribute, you will have to put that at sign, and then what is the attribute that we are using? We are using href attribute. And what is the value of that attribute? This is the value of this attribute, right? You got it. And then I do not need this thread.sleep, so I'm going to remove it. And I was trying something else, so I do not need it. I'm going to remove it. So now also I do not need this. It was because I tried something. Now if you execute it, right? Now if you execute it, you should be able to identify that object, and you should be able to click on that QA interview questions link. Okay, so now you should be able to click on that QA interview questions. I'm waiting for that click. You'll see it will be clicking definitely this time. Guys, again you saw that it didn't click because here we have said that it will be, we are identifying that object by URL, right? href. So, but here if you take a look where we are actually, it is just we are verifying if that object exists, and then the next section where we have the actual click, right? That is where we are actually clicking, but here we have still that text, so we need to change that, right? Now if you save it and then if I click on it, I'll keep my finger crossed that this time it will be clicking on that QA interview questions link. So yeah, I'm waiting to see if it is clicking on that QA interview questions link in the QA questions dot. Yeah, can you see? Now it has clicked on QA interview questions link, right? So the next part, according to the test case, the next part is we supposed to be, if you take a look, the next part is when the QA interview questions link is clicked, we're supposed to verify that QA interview questions page header. So if we can verify that page header, that's it. We are like, let's say when you click on QA interview questions, right, you will be verifying if this QA interview questions is there. So we had a little bit difficulties in clicking on this link because we have two links with same text. Then we had to find a different way, and then we took a look at the attribute. Now we got the href attribute that is different for this URL and different for this one. Now that worked and we are able to click on that. Now we need to verify this. If we are done verifying this, then we are done verifying one step. So let me inspect this. I'm going to do a quick inspect on this, and then you'll see that this one, if you take a look, what is the tag h1 and it has a class h1 and it has a class. I'm going to, again, h1 and class, I'm going to use these two attribute to identify that object, right? So I'm going to go there and then I'm going to copy a another class, another method that I have written. Let's say this one. I do not need to click on anything here. I just need to verify that that page header displayed, right? So I'm going to come here and after I'm going to add another method. Let's say QA interview, verify QA interview questions page header. QA int verify QA int interview questions page header. You can give any name, guys. Okay, so now verifying QA interview questions page header. You can give any name, don't worry. Right now again I'll be identifying it by Xpath. Now if you take a look, what is the Xpath? It is the h1, right? And by what we are going to identify? By class. And what is the value of the class? This is the value of the class. So if you go there, right, here I'm going to say again, here it is, instead of a span it is h1. I'm going to identify it by class. And what is the value of the class? This is the value of the class. And then I'm going to say that QA interview questions, QA interview. Okay, let me copy. I'm having difficulties in typing. QA interview questions page header displayed or not displayed. QA interview questions page header displayed or not displayed. If it is there, it will say displayed, and otherwise it will say it will has not display. Right now, if I execute it, you will see that we will be done actually on that test case. We will be done up to this, and the remaining steps you will have to do the same thing. After clicking on Q interview questions, you will have to go and click on this one, click on this one, and you will have to verify the page header. So let me do another quick execution, right? So if I go there and execute it, right, you will see that it will go to the website and verify the logo and verify the site description. Click on QA interview questions, and after that QA interview questions, it was able to verify that. How will I know? If you go there, can you see QA interview questions displayed, and then here verifying Q interview questions link, Q interview questions displayed. Let me see where we are. My execution is, oh guys, I have written this function, I didn't call it, right? So from here I'll have to call it. So let me just do a quick call, right? Dot verify Q interview questions page header. Where is my function? Q interview questions page header, right? And then uh, this is my object that I'm going to send with it. Now if you execute it now, Q interview questions, and then you'll be verifying that Q interview questions. You will see in the log. Let me see. Can you see QA interview questions page header display? Now if you want to close browser after execution, right? Let me close this browser manually and then do another execution. That will be closing the browser. Now if you execute it again, the same thing, guys. So yeah, you'll see that it will be doing the execution and then it will be closing the browser after verifying each and every piece. So gradually I'm bringing many things in this tutorial series, right? You will see that I'm going to bring so many types of identifying, so many ways of identifying object and so many things. So whatever we did today, right? We have written method to identify object, and we have called those method from here, from the caller class. And here in the actual method, right, if you take a look that how I have used if condition, make sure you are very familiar and you are good in using if condition. And if you take a look, like I have identified the object by link text, by class name, by Xpath, and when I'm using Xpath, I am identifying object by text or an attribute. So these things, I have identified object by class name, I have identified object by link text, right? I have identified object by XPath where I have used the text property, and then I have identified object by XPath again by using this tag name and this attribute. And what attribute we have used? We have used href attribute, we have used class attribute. So please make sure that you are able to identify objects by using all of this combination, and it will be pretty much, you will be very expert up to this if you have, or if you have completed this assignment, right? Where I have 9 steps. Try to identify the object by different combination and do a little bit research on your part. And also you have another homework due, so both of this homework, please try to work on it and send me the work, by Friday, right? I'll be, if you have any question, feel free to reach out to me. Other than that, yeah, we'll talk to you on Sunday. But today we have discussed a lot. Try to see if you can understand it. If you do not understand it, I will do a recap on the conversation in our Friday's class. So this is the code that we have written, right? We have brought a is displayed method that will say if the object is there or not. We have learned what is Boolean variable type, right? And what it does, it stores true or false, right? So all of the thing, yeah, go through the video if you need to multiple times and make sure that you are familiar with all of these terms. I know it was a long video, 1 hour and 10 minutes. So thank you for your patience. I appreciate your time. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you. Bye.